Welcome to Mailbag. This is a series of videos about questions that you guys have left on the channel. I normally block them up into a series that I can record in an evening because that's how many questions you guys leave. So what you'll be seeing is this block header, and then you'll see the individual mailbag items that will follow as the next part of the video. But before we get into mailbag, which is about questions and answers and comments you guys leave on the channel, we must do the channel parish notices. And if you like videos about legacy tech, musical instruments, EDM, anything like that, hit the subscribe icon, because that's what this channel's all about. If you want to be notified when such videos hit the channel, it's the bell icon. Save yourself some time, hit both together. If you like the contents of the video, please give it a thumbs up. And also, I love you guys leaving comments on the videos down below. I read them, I comment on them, and sometimes you even give me ideas for future videos, which is really great stuff. It also allows other people to comment on something you've raised against a topic that was discussed in the video. Really, really good stuff. Also down there, Facebook and Instagram. Becoming more and more popular with you guys. A lot more of you are talking to me on those channels. Keep it up. It's probably the channel I'll respond to you most quickly on, because it's the channel in my pocket, as in it's on my phone. But please follow me on those particular platforms, and you'll see the normal channel shenanigans. And finally, down there is the important one. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you can support the good work that this channel does towards EDM and legacy synthesizers. And now back to this video. Okay, the next one comes from XP50 Player in response to whatever happened to the rack mount version, a SMR I did in April 2021. And XP50 Player writes, the decline in the rack synth offerings correlated with the rise of the VST and the increase in PC Mac horsepower. Home studio people with main users of rack synths now did business with the DAW, and it's too much of an advantage to do offline mix down a bunch of soft synths rather than print audio tracks real time from rack synths. And you know, it's probably very true that, you know, the rise of the DAW did kill the rack, although I think the rack was killed off before the rise of the DAW. I don't think computers could do as much as they can now when manufacturers stopped making the rack mounts. But you know, XP50 Players made a really good point. It's definitely a big factor in a small studio market that the computers driven by VSTs provides the range that will have been made available through the rack purchase. Where computer power is now, and where it has been for the last 15 years, has led to the rise of the DAW as the dominant recording and mastering platform. But there were a number of years where people were transitioning from the sequence-based applications that morphed into a DAW. So when I first started using computers, there was no such thing as a DAW. It was a sequencer. You had Cubase, or you had mine's gone completely blank. SoundForge, or mine's gone completely blank on that, because there was the Apple one that morphed into Logic. It wasn't Logic originally. It was something else, and it became Logic, and then Apple bought it. Cubase. I don't even think Pro Tools was really around at that point in time. God, excuse me, mine's gone completely blank. Anyway. But yeah, so maybe the manufacturers saw this coming. I mean, maybe that was the writing on the wall, where they saw the compute power and more features added into the sequencer to make it more of a DAW. I mean, I can remember buying a version of Cubase, and Cubase came with Waves and a number of other plugins for Cubase, but you couldn't record a sound file in Cubase at that point in time. You had the editing facilities for sound files, but you couldn't actually record the sound file in Cubase. You needed something else to trigger it. And I do remember that. But the tail end of the point is that many of the current high-end boards don't really offer a VST that mirrors the functionality. I'm not saying this will not arrive in time, but it's really about the human user interface. You know my feelings on VSTs and the fact that they lack the tacticity, which I'm surprised is a word, learning something new every day, of a physical keyboard and the creativity that brings. So, if you've watched the channel for a period of time, you know that I'm not a VST fan. And I'm not a VST fan because I do like the faders and stuff like that that's on a keyboard, like the one that's sitting here beside me. I do get VSTs. I do get the DAW environment, and I use the DAW environment for recording. But for me, it's not so much about the recording, it's more about the tacticity of the keyboard itself and being able to make changes and then go back and re-record it. Now, I agree with what somebody else wrote on the channel some time ago, which is I always record a MIDI track and an audio track. And the reason I do that is because if I feel I need to change the instrument because I don't like it or I need to tweak the instrument, I can effectively play back the MIDI and then re-record the audio. But that's just me. That's just the way I work. Okay, this next comment or question comes from Graziano Di Martino, and I do hope I've got your name right. As most people will tell you, I am the world's worst at getting people's names right. And this is in response to setting up the Roland MX1 for your environment. And Graziano writes, "Thanks so much for this incredible information. I'm hoping I can get some more info here. If I want to record the audio coming into Logic Pro via the USB coming out of the MX1, would I want to put it in external mode? Cheers in advance." And I get lots of questions about the MX1 over the years, and I choose to only put a few of them into mailbag because quite a few of them are duplicating the same theme. But what I will say, and the reason why I've put this in mailbag and I'm talking to camera about it, is the MX1 has 3 modes of operation. Okay, there is the surface mode, there's the external mode, and there's the mix mode or the mixer mode. Okay, and I'll be brutally honest with you, I tried operating the MX1 in surface mode and I could not get on with it. Okay, it just didn't work for me. So in the end, I gave up and decided that I was never going to use it in surface mode. Plus the fact that you lose a lot of functionality where you try to actually make it work the controls of your DAW. And to me, that seemed a bit bonkers because what the MX1 was meant to be is the sort of the hub for ARIA and boutiques and a number of other Roland synthesizers that were enabled on the platform. So to me, the whole concept around the surface mode for the MX1 didn't work. It didn't work for me, so I stopped using it. In mixer mode, it's little more than a mixer, so it doesn't really work with a computer interface. So really, you're then sort of left with one mode, which is external mode. External mode will allow you to pass the instruments that are plugged into the MX1 into your DAW as effectively external inputs, and it allows you to push the mix that you've got on your DAW back out through the MX1. So therefore, to answer your question, you're absolutely spot on. It's external mode, and to be honest, people will probably shout at me for doing this, but if you are running an MX1, why would you run it in any other mode but surface mode? Sorry, but external mode. Why would you not run it? Why would you run it in any of the other modes? Because it just makes no sense whatsoever. And what I will do is I will finish this segment by saying, Roland, where is the MX2? Where is the upgrade to the MX1 that allows you to plug into all the modern instruments that you've been pushing out? Supports the boutiques, supports the Jupiter X, supports the Phantom, supports some of the legacy stuff, the Jupiter 80, etc., etc. I think, a lot of people will feel let down that the MX1 was such a great idea, but it's been let down by the lack of vision by the company that invented it.